What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, November 12th, 2023, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now, it is 1:46 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming from the Middle East. Apparently, Israel is preparing for a full scale war in Lebanon against Hezbollah. And it has now been confirmed that 5 U.S. soldiers were killed as a result of the crash of an American airplane in the Eastern Mediterranean. But before I get into all of that, I want to just give you an update on the volcano in Iceland. So, the Icelandic Meteorological Office posted an update not too long ago on November the 12th at 12:30 UTC time. They posted an update and they're saying that since the morning of November 11th, seismic activity related to the magma intrusion remains fairly constant. Since midnight November 12th, around 1,000 earthquakes have been reported within the dike, and all of them have been below magnitude 3.0. The most seismic activity has been located in the region north of Grindavik. Most of the earthquakes are at a depth of 3 to 5 kilometers, corresponding to the lower part of the dike intrusion. GPS measurements covering the past 24 hours show that deformation associated with the dike intrusion that formed on Friday, November the 10th, has slowed. This can be an indication that magma is moving closer to the surface. New models will be run as soon as new data comes in to update the model. All right, so Grindavik is that town that has been evacuated, and they're saying that this volcano could blow right under Grindavik or just to the north, which would be a worst case scenario. The best case scenario would be that it finds a weak spot somewhere along the coast and the magma is ejected into the ocean. But they're saying that the magma is pushing closer to the surface now. All right. And they're expecting a significant eruption. Okay. And a significant likelihood of volcanic eruption in the coming days. So this is very serious, guys. This could be a massive volcanic eruption here, and it could potentially have regional or global impacts depending on how strong of an eruption we're talking about here. And this is the general location where the U.S. has been searching for some of the debris from the aircraft that crashed supposedly during a training exercise just southeast of Cyprus. I personally don't believe it. I think it was taken down by a Hezbollah missile of some kind or some kind of anti air system that Hezbollah maybe received from Iran or Russia. But here's a NOTAM just to the southeast of Cyprus, this red circle here. So this is the area where that plane or helicopter, whatever it was, went down in this area. 5 U.S. soldiers killed. Okay. So this is very concerning. And how do we know it was a training exercise? Okay. It's so easy to say, oh, it was just a training exercise, but we don't really know. Okay. This could have been an attack, by Hezbollah. They could have fired a missile. So here we have a leaflet that was dropped on southern Lebanon by Israel, telling people in southern Lebanon to move northward towards Beirut to get away from southern Lebanon because they're going to start to strike southern Lebanon with fighter jets. And yesterday, the Israeli Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, said that what Israel did to Gaza, they could easily do to Beirut. And he said that Israeli fighter jets are facing to the north, meaning they're ready to go. And he also said that the Israeli Air Force has only used just 10% of their air power in their strikes against Gaza. So it looks like Israel is going to launch a massive preemptive strike on Hezbollah in the coming hours, in the coming days. This is crazy, guys. And this is coming after apparently 8 Israeli soldiers were killed earlier today after Hezbollah launched guided missiles at an Israeli military logistics center in Daviv. And Israeli sources are also reporting that there were several explosions in Haifa today. So Hezbollah has been really stepping up their attacks on northern Israel. We know that yesterday the leader of Hezbollah, Nasrallah, gave another speech. So Israeli sources are reporting that the Israeli war cabinet is currently preparing for a full-scale attack on Lebanon and Hezbollah. Okay, and supposedly difficult decisions are going to be made in the coming hours. So it's possible that later tonight or tomorrow or sometime this week we could see a massive attack on Lebanon by Israel. And I wanted to just update you on the locations of some of our forces in the Middle East. So here you can see that the USS Dwight Eisenhower is already in the Arabian Sea, and I did track some resupply planes last night that flew to this aircraft carrier, and I think it's somewhere right off the coast of Oman. This is a few days old, but it still gives a general idea of where everything is. You can see here that the USS Bataan, which has the Marines on it, is in the northern Red Sea. We have the USS Carney, which is the Aegis air defense warship. It's also in the Red Sea. And then what's interesting here is they have the USS Florida in the Red Sea, and that's the one that has Tomahawk missiles. And those Tomahawk missiles have nuclear warheads on them with 150 kiloton blast yield for each one. And this is a Ohio class sub, so it carries 154 Tomahawks with nuclear warheads on them. And here you can see that based on this picture, the U.S. now can completely cover all of the hostile countries in the Middle East. So the Dwight Eisenhower can completely cover the Persian Gulf and Iran. And then the Gerald Ford Strike Group can totally cover Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan. So they have overlapping fields of fire here now, okay? And I think now is when Israel's going to make their big move on Hezbollah, because the Dwight Eisenhower is in position, and also because the USS Florida is in position in case things escalate, in case Iran tries to attack Israel. Then we have that heavy firepower in the form of 150 Tomahawks with nuclear warheads on them that we could bring to bear to totally annihilate the Iranian military should they decide to be brave. And here we have these resupply planes that were flying to our aircraft carriers. You can see one flew just southwest of Cyprus. That's where the Gerald Ford is. And then one flew off the coast of Oman. And it looks like it shut its transponder off once it got out into the ocean, so it couldn't be tracked. But you can see, based on where it was going, that our aircraft carrier is somewhere right outside of the Gulf of Oman, okay? And here you can see a bunch of search planes flying over the eastern Mediterranean, probably looking for debris from the aircraft that went down. We have an EP-3 Ares, a P-8 Poseidon, and a C-130, and they were all flying in this area here. So the U.S. military has all the assets in position now, and Israel is going to decide today probably if they're going to launch a preemptive attack on Hezbollah and Lebanon. Okay, and I think that this was all part of the plan. I think that the White House told Netanyahu to wait for everything to get into position before they go after Hezbollah, because going after Hezbollah is different than going after Hamas. Hezbollah has missiles. They have a larger territory to operate from. So I think we're going to see it, guys. I think Israel's going to launch a massive attack on Hezbollah. And Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, said today in an interview with CBS that Iran's nuclear program and the threat it poses will be on the agenda of Biden and Xi Jinping's meeting this week. All right, so Xi Jinping, the president of China, the leader of China, is coming to the U.S. in San Francisco for 3 days from the 14th to the 17th. And apparently they're going to talk about Iran. So that's pretty serious. And we do know that the U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution already with 350 votes. I think that's like 90% of the House passed this resolution declaring that Iran cannot get nuclear weapons, and the U.S. and its allies will do anything necessary to stop it from getting nuclear weapons. And then we have Richard Blumenthal and Lindsey Graham pushing for a resolution in the Senate for basically the same thing. And now we have Biden speaking with Xi Jinping about Iran. So seems like that's what's going to happen. So it seems like Iran is the main focus. Okay, Iran is the head of the snake, and the U.S. and Israel want to cut that snake head off. Okay, and Reuters is reporting that Hamas has decided to suspend hostage negotiations. And the reason why is apparently because of Israel shelling Palestinian medical facilities. And U.S. Navy ships in the Red Sea have reportedly intercepted suicide drones and missiles fired from Yemen towards Israel in the last few hours. And the U.S. government requested clarification from Netanyahu regarding his statements that Israel will continue to control security in Gaza after the war and will not allow any international forces. And this is coming from the Israeli Broadcasting Corporation. And apparently, a UN office in Gaza was shelled, according to the agency's chief. This was the Development Program Office for the UN. And apparently, there's a significant number of deaths. Al Arabia is reporting that Israeli tanks are now just a few hundred meters from the entrance of the Shifa hospital. And that's supposedly where Hamas has their headquarters and where they have the entrance to their tunnel system. And the World Health Organization says it has lost communication with its contacts in the Shifa hospital. The Israeli army stated that it had opened evacuation routes for civilians from the Shifa hospital, the Rantisi hospital, and the Nasser hospital. All right, so Israel is opening evacuation routes. And apparently, there's increased activity of Israeli reconnaissance drones along the border with Lebanon. And that could be an indication that Israel is preparing for some kind of massive preemptive strike. They're gathering intel. And apparently, Israeli fighter jets launched airstrikes on terror infrastructure sites inside of Syria overnight last night. And the foreign minister of Jordan said that Israel has crossed every legal, ethical, and humanitarian red line in its barbaric war against Gazans. So, guys, this is the foreign minister of Jordan, okay, which is an ally of the U.S., kind of a neutral country, and they're siding now with the Palestinians, and they're criticizing Israel. And the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad said at the emergency summit yesterday with all the Muslim and Arab countries that we must stop any political track with Israel, and Israel's crimes must be stopped forever and not for a temporary period. Talking with Israel will be of no use as the judge cannot be put on trial. Does the Palestinian need humanitarian aid from us first, or does he need protection from the upcoming genocide against him? The valiant Palestinian resistance imposed a new reality in our region, and with it, we gain the political tools that enable us to change the equations. So this is pretty crazy. He says, do the Palestinians need humanitarian aid first, or do they need protection? So he's talking about military action and sending in forces into Gaza. And the French president, Emmanuel Macron, criticized Israel And he said that, in fact, today civilians are being bombed. In fact, these children, these women, these old people are being bombed and killed. So there is no basis for this and no legitimacy. Therefore, we call on Israel to stop. Emmanuel Macron is just completely insane, not in touch with reality. And the Israeli Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, said that an occupation is needed in Gaza because every time our enemies lose territory, they lose the war. We should have full control over this area. It will deter our opponents. Okay, so Ben-Gvir is calling for an occupation of Gaza. And Israel's President Yitzhak Herzog revealed today in an interview with the BBC that IDF forces located a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf in a children's room of a civilian home that was used as a terror base for Hamas. All right, so Hamas had copies of Mein Kampf translated into Arabic. Absolutely crazy. And German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stated today that he is ready to meet with Vladimir Putin. And I find it so interesting how the European countries are now turning their back on Ukraine. They were pumping up Ukraine with all this equipment, and now they're just completely leaving Ukraine to the wolves. Germany is removing 3 Patriot missile systems from Poland, and it looks like they're trying to push Ukraine into some kind of a peace deal. And Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, took part in a military parade, and he said that North Korea is ready to use nuclear weapons against the US, Japan, and South Korea. He said that the 0 hour has come. Okay, strong words there, guys. The 0 hour has come. So that's the latest information that I have on the situation in the Middle East and with the volcano in Iceland. Just get prepared, guys. It looks like things are continuing to spiral out of control in the Middle East, and Israel is probably going to launch a preemptive strike on Lebanon in the coming days or in the coming hours. I think we're going to see that happen, and I think we're also going to see a strike on Iran, possibly a nuclear strike. It's coming, guys, and it's going to happen when you least expect it, when you're not prepared for it. So you should always have everything you need at all times, because SHTF is never going to happen when you're ready. It's always going to happen when you're not ready. Okay. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'll do another update later on this evening. Other than that, I hope you enjoy your Sunday and thank a veteran for their service. Yesterday was Veterans Day, so thank a veteran. And other than that, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And this video is sponsored by NYPrepper Supply. Guys, we're living in very uncertain times, and you need to make sure your family has emergency food. When World War III starts, you're not going to be able to go to your grocery store to get food. Or when there's a power outage caused by natural disasters or cyber attacks. So you cannot rely on grocery stores to feed your family. You need to have emergency food. And NYPrepper Supply makes it very easy to prepare for these uncertain times. They have a 3-month emergency food supply, and it has a 25-year shelf life, and it's all contained within 6 rugged, water-resistant buckets, and you get a wide variety of food from dinners, lunches, breakfasts, drinks, snacks. So you're not going to get bored eating the same food every single day in a real SHTF situation. They also have a 2-week emergency food supply, which is a great option for camping. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get the 3-month or 2-week emergency food supply from NYPrepper Supply. There's a link in the description below this video. It's an excellent gift idea for a prepper. They also have a general store. When you go to that page, you click on their logo, and once you click on their logo, it'll take you to their general store where they have MREs, solar generators, potassium iodide, survival seeds, a whole bunch of stuff, fire starters, water filters, All of these are excellent gift ideas for the prepper in your family. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get the 3-month and 2-week emergency food supplies. The link is in the description below this video.